From New York, the greatest city in the world, it's The Late Show with David Letterman.
A couple of months ago, my family and I went down to Cape Canaveral to see the launch of the Atlantis space shuttle, and I believe there's only 2 more launches planned, and we met some wonderful people that work with and for NASA. Tremendous, and no, not hard to believe, these people are very smart. They're like rocket scientists or something.
I like rockets.
And we met an astronaut by the name of Mike Massimino, who's been in space on the shuttle twice, and they've made a film about one trip where they were working on the Hubble Space Telescope, and it's a 3D IMAX thing, and it'll pull you right out of your socks when you go to see this. And there's warnings, you know, duct tape your socks. And I want to tell you something about this guy. And I know, and I don't, and please, I don't want to embarrass you people, but I know you think I'm quite a guy. Yeah, but.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
Wait till this guy gets out here. This is the way guys are supposed to be. This Mike Massimino. This guy, I'm telling you, when this guy comes out of here, people are going to storm the stage and beat me to death, because this is the guy you want right here. He is a veteran of 2 NASA Space Shuttle missions and is featured in the IMAX film Hubble 3D. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to astronaut Mike Massimino. Mike, come on up. Thank you very much. And before we get too far into this, thank you again, and everybody down there at Cape Canaveral, everybody affiliated with NASA, and all of the people that work there. Oh, what a tremendous day that was. And they couldn't have been nicer to me and to our family and to our friends. And the kind of thing you'll never forget the rest of your life. And in no small way because of your gracious hospitality. And what a lovely afternoon that was. Now.
It was our pleasure, Dave.
Well,
it really was.
It was great.
It was great to have you there.
You all right? You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Let's tell people a little bit about yourself. You're from Long Island originally.
That's right. Grew up in Long Island,
and what about your experience in Long Island or childhood experience made you want to go into space?
I was born in 1962, so if you do the math, 1969, I was 6 going on 7, and that's when we were landing people on the moon, and that really caught my attention as a little kid. You know, you see the kids at the launch, you know, your son and the other kids there. You know, that's the kind of thing that grabbed me when I saw people walk on the moon, and it was something that stayed with me my whole life.
And did you know what route to take to become an astronaut?
I had no idea. I was from Long Island, kid growing up. I had no idea how I'd ever become an astronaut.
Right.
And in fact, once I got to high school, I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I liked math and science. Went to college, studied engineering, and it really wasn't until I got out of college.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Columbia, just down the street here. And I was working in Manhattan as an engineer, and I thought about what I wanted to do, and I thought about my little kid interest in the space program, and went to grad school and started pursuing.
Where'd you go to grad school?
MIT. So,
see, ladies and gentlemen, you see what I'm talking about?
It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work and perseverance.
I went to Ball State.
I had to work hard, though. It wasn't pretty, Dave, but I got through it.
And now, for kids interested in becoming an astronaut, will there be a place for them to be astronauts now?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to stop. You know, the shuttle program is ending, and I was very pleased you got to come to one of the last launches because you know it's winding down. We've got 2 more left. We're going to be sending astronauts on a Soyuz, a Russian spaceship now for a while, up to the space station. That's going to be our access to space. But we're working out the details, but we are going to be building another spaceship here. It might be a commercial venture. It might be a joint NASA commercial venture. We're still trying to work that out. But I just can't imagine us stopping. There's no way that the country is going to let us stop exploring.
There will always be a NASA functioning at some level, right?
I think so, yeah. And I say that because, we've been flying the shuttle for so long, and now it's something new is going to happen. But the support we see from folks like yourself, from the general public, from everyone around the country and around the world, really, is so strong that I don't think it's an option to stop. Yeah. We don't know exactly how it's going to work out, maybe, but I think we're going to keep going.
Let's talk a little bit about the shuttle program, and it's sad and good that people now just take it for granted. There's been so many launches, the casualties also, and a great deal of money spent. But on balance, it's really returned the investment, hasn't it?
Yeah, it sure has. You know, if you look at, as you said, we have paid for it. You know, people should go and enjoy the launches and enjoy what we do. But it's less than 1 penny on your tax dollar is what NASA gets. Wow. And it's hard. You know, you can justify saying, well, we get this new technology and we get these discoveries and spin-offs into our everyday life. But I think that's only part of the story. If you look at how it inspires young kids, you know, have you seen that firsthand? And international cooperation. You know, our partners, our strongest partners are the Russians. And when I was growing up, you know, we weren't necessarily on good terms.
They're the reason we went to the moon.
Right, you know, and now we're working together with them. And just in general exploration, finding out what's out there. What is our place in the universe? I think that's the reason we go, and we'll continue to go.
There's so many things to ask you about. Tell us about your first experience when you look back at the planet. What was that feeling?
Yeah, you train to do all this work, but the thing you really want to see, Dave, is what does it look like up there? Yeah. What do the stars look like? What does the Earth look like? And when you first get to space and you look out the window of the shuttle, it's magnificent what you see. But it's kind of like looking at an aquarium. You know, you're looking through a window, and if you might be eating something, if you need to go to the bathroom, you can. You know, you're in regular clothes. Right. But when you go out and spacewalk and see the planet, I found that to be a different experience. When you can look anywhere. You have the bubble of your helmet, and when
you're tethered.
You're always tethered.
But nonetheless,
you're out there. Yeah. And when I really had on my first spacewalk, I didn't look around too much. I didn't want to get distracted. My second spacewalk, I really had a chance to soak it in. And when I first looked, I almost couldn't stand to look at it. You can see at the Hubble altitude, you can see the planet in its entirety. You can see the curvature, like you see in the movie. You can see the curvature of the planet, and it looks like a big ball. And I just turned my head at it, and the thought that went through my head was, this is something I'm not supposed to look at. It's a secret. People aren't supposed to see this. There are no words to describe its beauty, so I'll just tell you what I was thinking. And I looked again, and the second time I looked, I started to get a little emotional, you know, and I got to catch myself, Dave, because I was afraid I might start to tear up. And if I get some water in my spacesuit, it could cause a problem. And then there'd be an investigation, and I'd have to admit that I was crying. You know? So I quickly got myself under control, but I looked a third time. And that third time that I looked, the thought went through my head was, if you're in heaven, this is what you would see. This is the view from heaven. And then it was immediately replaced by another thought, Dave. It was, no, it's more beautiful than that. This is what heaven must look like. Yeah. And that's what I felt looking at the planet. And it's fragile, it's beautiful, it's perfection, and we need to take care of it.
It's amazing to me. Yeah, beautifully put. You're very lucky because you work in an industry. It's a combination of engineering and physics and something that is also very spiritual.
It is, yeah, it is. It really, people go to work at NASA because they love it. Whether you're an astronaut, an engineer, the person cleaning the floor, I mean, everybody there goes there with a spirit of they're really there for a purpose, and it makes it a wonderful place to work.
When you're doing the EVA, is that the one?
Yeah, that's fancy term for spacewalk. I'm impressed. Yeah. Yeah. It stands for extravehicular activity.
When 2 years ago, I was building a treehouse, and periodically I would be, hanging. I'd get my lip caught on a nail on the beach, and I would think to myself, this must be what it's like, crawling around.
Yeah. Well, that's why we wear helmets, so we don't have that problem.
But every bit of muscle memory is gone. It doesn't apply when you're out there floating and working, does it?
You have to learn how to do it, and we practice in the water. This is shown in the Hubble movie as well. We practice underwater, so you can learn how to move around and work in the big suit. It's a pressurized suit, so it's hard to move. It has to be bulky so it protects you. But it also, you need to get some flexibility out of it, but it's minimal. It's kind of like working with boxing gloves on.
Did you at one point almost lose something that could have floated for eternity in space?
I got close at one time, Dave. I never lost anything, just so Manasseh knows. I don't want him to take it out of my paycheck. I didn't lose anything. But there was a point, I was trying to do my friends a favor, on my spacewalk. The next spacewalk the next day, they had to hook up this cable, and the section of the telescope they were in was going to be tough to reach. So we were in the easy-to-reach spot, so I was going to do them a favor and hook up their cable for them, right? So,
So they do have cable up
They
there.
do have cables.
Yeah,
we have
that's
cables. We got to hook them up. So I went. We do have not cable. It's not for cable television.
Oh.
Don't call your cable provider. It's a science kind of cable that only astronomers get to see what comes up. But I was gonna hook this thing up, and I put it on my workstation with one hook, and I was gonna go right into the telescope and install it. But we had a problem. One of our instruments we were putting in wasn't fitting, and we had to go to the back of the shuttle to get the replacement, and I had this thing flopping on me. This cable's flopping for about an hour and a half or so. So finally, we're getting close to installing this thing, and somehow through all this moving around with my one hook on it, I'm outside the telescope on a handrail floating there, and I look up and I see this cable floating away. And I don't see just a cable, Dave. I see the history of the future of astronomy floating away, right? And it's amazing what goes through your mind. And I can read the astronomy books. We would know the age of the universe, except Mike. This is what Mike.
Oh, man. We'll be right back with Mike Massimino, everybody. Mike Massimino, will you? You're an astronaut now. Will you fly again in some version, some vehicle?
Maybe. We'll see. I'm not assigned right now. The option now is to train to fly on the International Space Station for a long-term mission.
Would you want to do that?
I wouldn't mind. I mean, right now it requires 2.5 years of training plus 6 months in space, and so my kid, I got 2 teenagers at home, and I want to try to keep an eye on them. How am I going to be annoying Dad if I'm off it? So we'll see, but maybe I'll get back there someday.
In the shuttle, when you're on the space, is the space station complete? Is it finished?
Just about. We have these two more missions that are just going to finish it off, but it's just about. But the big structure of it is pretty much done.
When you're out in space, is there a way to communicate with your family?
There is. We have we have email, we have Twitter. On the space station, they actually have a phone.
A phone.
A phone, which actually becomes problematic for some of the family members. There was my buddy was up there, for 6 months, and I saw his kid, and I said, "Hey, you looking forward to your dad coming home?" And he goes, "Yeah, so he'll stop bothering me." I go, "How's that?" The guy, the guy's in space. He goes, "He keeps calling me, and with the email, he's getting a hold of the kids' teachers, and why aren't you doing your homework?" And when he was at home, when he's on Earth, apparently he's too busy.
Yeah, of course.
To do this. So, and when the phone call comes in, Dave, it's a local call.
Is that right?
Yeah, it shows up on the phone because the way they route it, it shows.
Have you called your wife?
No. Well, this is a point this is a sensitive point in my house because we were not going to the space station. We went to the Hubble, so we didn't have this phone. But some of the folks on my flight, particularly the rookies, the new flyers, they really wanted this phone. And I was like, "This is a bad idea because Drew's going to call his wife, and then I'm going to have to call mine, or I'm going to hear about it. And so I don't need this extra pressure. Forget it." But so we took the equipment with us. I got overruled. We took the equipment with us, right? And we didn't have time. I knew this was going to happen. We didn't have time to set any of it up. So we never set up the phone. So as soon as I get home, I see my family again. My wife says, "I'm glad you made it back, but why didn't you call?" Can you imagine that?
Yeah. What's the problem with you? Why didn't you call, for God's sakes?
Yeah.
Now, I want to show a clip. This is from the movie. When did these IMAX films, did you have to take the equipment for these up there?
We had the big cameras, a gigantic 3D camera that we had. We mounted it in the payload bay, and we turned it on and off from a computer that we controlled in the cabin. So I think the image you're going to see now is from that payload bay camera. It's just a few minutes of film that we had.
What I want to show first, though, is the launch. I think you're on the craft that we're seeing take off here. And I had never seen it in person before. And people, yourself included, say, when it comes time to launch, don't fumble around trying to take pictures of this.
Right.
There are millions and millions of pictures of these things launching. Just concentrate on what you're seeing. And I had my binoculars with me, and we had a lot of little kids jumping around and friends. And let me see the binoculars. And I said, "No." No. You're 6 years old. I'm 63. I have the binoculars. And I was like this the whole time.
That's the way to do it.
And honest to God, I've never seen, heard, or felt anything quite like this. So we're going to show a launch here. You talk us through it.
Okay.
Tell us what we're seeing, and then tell us what you're feeling when you're riding this beast.
Okay.
Take a look.
Yeah, so this is from the IMAX movie, so this is an IMAX camera. So right now we're laying on our backs. It's a beautiful summer day. And those main engines light at 6. The shuttle moves a little bit, and then it will come back up right after the main engine. And the solids on the side, the 2 white rockets will light, and there we go.
Man.
So at this point, you know you're headed somewhere. It looks slow, but you're already going about 100 miles an hour.
What do you feel inside the craft?
You're feeling as if something has grabbed you and is taking you. Incredible, powerful being has got you, and you are on your way far from home, and you're looking at your friends saying to each other, maybe this wasn't so smart.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what's going on at this point.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And you've had that experience twice.
2 times, yeah.
And as you point out, the amazing thing about the space shuttle, it does that.
Yeah.
It's a cargo vessel.
Right.
It can dock with the space station and with the Hubble and anything else that might be up there. And then you can also fly it home as a glider.
Amazing.
And use it over and over again.
Yeah, it is. I think, Dave, it's the coolest spaceship we've ever had, and I think it's going to be the coolest space. If there's like a cool factor, it's the coolest spaceship I think we're going to have for a long time. As you described, it's an amazing vehicle.
All right, I want to show just another clip of the film here. What are we going to see, Mike?
I think this is going to be from our payload bay camera now,
All right,
which
that's what I'm
we're
talking
looking
about.
up at the telescope and some spacewalking. So you see some spacewalking.
Here we go.
You have about 2 feet to go out of the telescope.
I do have a warning for you. There's a possible finger pinch hazard when you're stowing coaster on the aft fixture, so be careful.
Thanks, Mike.
You're stuck inside of that suit. It's not quite Barney's New York. It's a good suit, but it doesn't come with its own restroom or cafeteria.
Continue down.
Nutrition is very important because it is an athletic event.
Back down and left.
There you go. Is it? Are you ever scared, or has the fear been trained out of you?
Yeah, you get a little bit worried. It's a little stressful, but you do rely on your training. If you think about doing something like that, you'd have to be nuts, right, to go and actually do that.
Yes.
But you get the training, and it's piece by piece, and you learn what you need to learn, and you have stuff to think about, and it's amazing. It's just like your kids doing your homework. You know, if you go in and take an exam unprepared, you're in trouble. But if you prepare, you're okay, and it's just like a space mission.
You know, I was 35 on the list.
Oh.
Mike Massimino,
Hey, thanks
ladies and
very much.
gentlemen. We'll be back with the new pornographers.